Welcome, everyone, to It Tastes Different. I'm going to need a little help from you guys tonight. I need you guys to help me with my gaming and junk food addiction, because if you guys don't like and subscribe to this channel and follow us, then I can't keep eating all the good little Debbies, and I can't keep drinking the Jolt Cola. So if you guys don't help out, I can't keep playing games, so I need some help now. Please like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Which that kind of leads us into our next topic. What's for dessert tonight? We run on down to the store, grab the Jolt Cola, and raid the little Debbies with LAN Parties. We all remember those from our youth, our misspent youth, just chugging down the Monsters and the Jolt Colas and the Red Bulls and the Balls energy drinks, just having a good old time and spending days upon days playing games and hours and sleeping in awkward places. So we're going to talk about all the different things of LAN parties. Let's go ahead and, I don't know, let's go with Grandpa and see what LAN parties were like back in the day for him.
Well, Alexander Graham Bell. Bastards. Man, love me some LAN parties back in the day. I think a big one for everybody in this group was probably Halo. That was a huge one for, everybody when Xbox first launched. It was fantastic. It was fun. It was easy to set up. Xbox was just plug and go. 15, 20 people in a room with, big old fat back monitors and their TV screens, Zenith and whatnot. Parents freaking out while their utilities just go, God, it was just such a blast. And all you do is eat, play games, cut jokes, and cut farts. I mean, it was a fantastic time in life. Nintendo, throw on some GoldenEye. It was the pinnacle of gaming fun. It really was. I still would love to get a good old LAN party going. We play online all the time. We board game together all the time. But a LAN game, LAN parties are just, they're youth. They're before everybody turned to jerks online, they all got together and they shut their damn mouth because they knew they'd get popped by somebody. So I love online play, but it's nothing compared to LAN parties. Nick, what about you? Tell us your LAN party love or hate. I don't care.
Yeah, I love LAN parties. Same thing, Halo and especially computers as well. With Halo, I would take my Xbox, and then I had a 27-inch Sony Trinitron box TV, and that thing was heavy as crap. And I would lug it into my car and drive out to my buddy's place and hook it all up, and we'd have 4-player Halo LAN parties all night, and or a buddy of mine, his dad had a business, and it had a downstairs where the offices were and an upstairs where his dad slept. And, I'd go over there because that's my buddy stayed with his dad. And so all the computers down below were all connected, together, connected together. And we would play, like StarCraft and stuff. Because StarCraft, you only need one copy because you had the share copy option where you could just install it on every PC. And so you could play multiplayer, and we'd sit there and play not Star Fox, but StarCraft and Command and Conquer and Diablo and Diablo 2 and just, and it's a different experience than online. Nowadays we have online, so we don't really have that necessity for a LAN party, but it's just a different experience, Doing it online is fun and all. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to lug anything. But that experience of all being in one location playing together it's totally different, especially with even things like couch co-op and stuff. Some games do have couch co-op today, but, that experience of sitting there with your buddy playing a game together on the same TV is a lot different than playing online. It's just a completely different experience to have a friend there or several friends and playing a big, expansive game together. Or even you could even do LAN parties with MMOs if you wanted to, everybody gets together with their PCs and all play Star Wars Galaxies for these guys, for, Patrick and Russ, or, World of Warcraft or whatever. Counter-Strike. We used to have a bunch of Counter-Strike LAN parties. So I loved LAN parties back in the day. I wish it was still a thing nowadays. It's unfortunately it doesn't really need to be a thing nowadays because how the internet's so expansive and it's just so easy to play online. There's really no need for that to be a thing anymore. But it is something from I think all of our childhoods that we definitely miss. But yeah, I absolutely loved it, and it sucks that it went away, but I understand why. But Pat, what do you think of LAN parties, man? Or yeah, what do you think?
Well, since I'm going to go first, I'm going to steal Russ's. Our biggest LAN party game was always Medal of Honor Allied Assault. We played that like it was going out of style. And then there was the Viet Cong game that we played a lot of when it's going out of style. My LAN parties, what I always remember about LAN parties is that when I was younger, I had a buddy who I worked with. He was an older guy and I was young, but we worked together when I worked for a trucking company. So he was like what they call a lead man, and I was just a grunt on the floor. And so he had a big like detached garage that was his workshop in his house, and everybody used to go over his house and LAN party. So I always remember I would throw my computer and monitor in a laundry basket. So I had everything in a laundry basket, and I would put my chair in the back of my S10 pickup, and I would drive to his house, and I would just come in with my laundry basket out of my computer. And I always brought all the switches and cabling because I was the kid who knew computers and knew networking and switching and all that crap. So I spent the first hour to 2 hours of every LAN party making sure everybody's crap worked, which kind of sucked, but it paid off in the end because I always got free food from everybody, you know. Everybody would be like, here, have one of my energy drinks or whatever for helping get my stuff going or whatever, you know. And I always kept extra NIC cards and cables and crap because there's not a LAN party if somebody's computer doesn't break. So we did a lot more computer gaming than console gaming because we played like StarCraft and Counter-Strike and Medal of Honor and stuff like that. We played a lot of that kind of crap. But I remember that as the LAN parties, and then just staying up for like hours and days, you know, and people don't dare fall asleep because everybody's going to mess with you, you know. We played so many games, you know. My buddies were big into IL Sturmovik 2 and stuff like that. So a lot of flight simulator, combat simulator games, you know, lots of that stuff. And then, you know, even the national events. I never got to go to one, but I always wanted to go to a national event. I always heard about the massive Million Man LAN that I always wanted to go do and never got to do it. I think it's actually still going on, the Million Man LAN, but obviously they don't have the draw they used to, as you guys have all mentioned. It's too easy now just to fire up my computer and get on the internet and play a game together, you know, rather than having to go to my friend's house, pack up my computer and monitors and everything. And because this was back before laptops were a decent gaming situation. So you couldn't game on a laptop very much as you could, as easily or cost effective as you could a computer. So my big ass computer and big ass 19-inch CRT2 monitor went with me, you know. Russ, what were some of your memories? You know, I've heard some of your stories before.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. Nick had mentioned, like, you know, playing MMOs. I mean, that I'll get to in a minute. But like you guys, Allied Assault, Quake 2, Quake was really big. I mean, we would play Counter-Strike like it was going to sign. Serious Sam. I don't know how many of you guys remember Serious Sam, but like that would be like Serious Sam would be like after everybody's kind of punch drunk. Like everybody'd be like, yeah, let's put in Serious Sam. And just everybody the whole time is basically screaming while they're shooting as much as you can. I mean, those games are absolutely staples. I would have, so I was when at my peak, I was in Germany. And Germany had ADSL. So we were like really pumped to have that. And then what we would do is my landlord actually had it as well. So when it came to the MMO portion of it, we wouldn't land, but we would all be in the same room or same place playing Star Wars or something like that. And we would play, so I would get off of work at, so I went on nights. So I was a old crew chief and we would come in at nights. And on Friday nights, jets would be landed by 4:00 in the afternoon. So we would come in at like 6 on Friday nights. And if we had a good night, we could get all the jets put to bed and everything by like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So we were out of there within, 4 to 5 hours of being at work. And from 10 o'clock Sunday night until like 11 o'clock Monday morning because we didn't have to be in until 6 or 7 that night. So we figured we get a solid 6-7 hours of sleep and be able to work. And I would stay over at my buddy. His name was Andrew. What was Andrew's? I can't remember what his name, his game name was. His game tag
was it like a Kai or something? Weird
yeah,
like that?
a Kai or something like that. Those Kai berries or whatever. And I would be over at his house and I would be there for literally 70 hours. And we would take like 45-minute or an hour naps every once in a while and then get back and start playing again. So, but my biggest memory though, for like a LAN party was once a month, I would have 8 other guys over and I'd have 2 guys at the dining room table. I'd have a guy on the couch we'd have 2 guys on the couch with TV trays and ironing boards. And then I would be at my desk and then we would have another guy at Isabella's desk, which Isabella's desk was like half the size of ours. So that was always hilarious. Somebody had to draw the short straw for that. And we would sit there and we would play all those games that we just talked about before for, 8 to 12 hours in a day that people come over about 2 or 3 in the afternoon and we'd be playing 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I never did much console LAN gaming. I wasn't really big into consoles at that point in time, but my goodness, a lot of the MMOs just being like, even just being in the same room when you're playing an MMO, it's a lot different than when you're online. So it was a lot of fun. It was great memories I'll never forget. It's funny because Patrick had mentioned like having LAN cards. At one point in time, I actually knew enough about computers to get through it, and I would have like 2 or 3 LAN cards, and it would like circulate like to make sure that everybody's card was working. And I was always the one that had like the extra 15 cables and 2 switches, and I'd be the one that would be setting most of that stuff up. Those were the days, long time ago. But in any case, good times, very good memories. Now I feel like we should do it. It's ironic now. The future now we have flat screen TVs and laptops, and man, we could like 2-hand those things over to somebody's house. Whereas before you had like a 4x4 box that it took 2 people to haul upstairs. But it was good times though.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it was always fun. So many games. I mean, Unreal Tournament and Quake were big. I almost forgot about those games.
Yeah, Unreal Tournament.
They were just so like off the wall games. It was just like fighting games, but they had like low grav levels and jumping and attacking. It was just weird games like that. But yeah, we played a lot of LAN party games, so they were fun. It was a lot of eating bad, drinking as much caffeine as you can get ingested so you could stay awake, and just, it attributed to the person I am today. A fat guy who likes to drink a lot of caffeine and eat bad food. So, it was a great time. I thoroughly enjoyed all of those times and LAN partying and playing and hanging out with my friends, because that's exactly what it was. It was, and we kind of still do some of that. I mean, we board game so that we could all get together and just hang out. Now, ain't none of us playing for days on end anymore. Shane turns into a pumpkin by about midnight every night. So, we have to kill it after about 12 or 13 hours of gaming. So,
well, we play the one game at the very beginning of the night so that when he's most cognizant, he remembers that the most, so that at the end of the night, we could play that same game and he doesn't have to use as many brain cells. But also I wanted to add Nick's list. He was mentioning StarCraft and like Age of Mythology. Holy crap. That one was one of my favorites as well.
Yep. Age of Empires, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Rise of Nations.
Yeah.
And,
my goodness, I got some gameplay out of Rise of Nations. Yeah.
And just to fool you, Russ, I don't use brain cells ever. It's a waste.
They all died already.
It's a waste of his brain cells.
I killed them suckers decades ago. But no, I remember my last, and I'm pretty positive it was my very last time playing a LAN party. It was actually a little tournament they had at, I don't know if you guys remember Game Crazy. It was at the launch of Halo 2. They had a LAN party. Whoever won, they get the Halo 2 copy free. And I hadn't played Halo in 2 years, probably. I've, gotten to other stuff. And so I was killing it, man. I was just all over the place. I was tearing it up, running around with my little pistol and popping heads. And then I realized not only am I in second place, I am so far in second place because the dude that was in first, man, he was just violating everybody everywhere. And when the game finished, man, I was like 20 kills behind this guy. And he's like, "Oh man, this is my worst game ever. I about beat him." It's like, your worst game ever, really? I had my best game ever, and he had his worst, and he's still 20 ahead of me. But needless to say, I had to pay for my dang copy, but it was a great time. They had a little party and everything going on there. But you know, that was at the release of Halo 2, and you know, that was pretty much everything was online at that point now. I mean, it was really, you know, online was still really cool and new, especially for consoles. So it just really just killed straight off the whole, you know, LAN party thing. And that sucks. You know, it's like getting rid of a car, you know, when you were a kid and realizing how cool it truly was, you know, 20 years later. It really does break your heart to miss something like that. So now we have to all go find some old Xboxes or something and find a location and just play.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of reminds me. Go ahead, Russ.
Oh no, I was just like, we're sitting here talking. I'm just like thinking of all the games like Team Fortress, Day of Defeat, you know, like all those games that we had played. I mean, I'm just thinking about it. And like back in the day, you could kind of get through the copyright, and then everybody had like one copy, and so we like could share like everybody could share one game. And everybody would, you know, we would kind of like, I mean, dear FBI, I'm not talking about copyright infringements. We would just, you know, make sure everybody had a copy of it. Now, like, you know, everything's digital, so now we can't do that.
Right. It kind of goes hand in hand too. Back in the day, I don't know how many of you guys were big proponents of like internet cafes and stuff, but Springfield's had quite a few in the past. Like, I don't know how many people have been around here for that long, but we used to have Power Games. I don't remember if anybody remembers that, but Power Games.
I remember the name.
They used to be right at on the square, like on Main Street downtown, above SpringNet. When SpringNet first started, they were in like they were one of the first high speed internet service providers, and SpringNet was on the floor above them, and they provided SpringNet with access to the backbone of the internet. You know, the fiber channel there. And so they had fast internet, and you could go in there and pay $5. This was back. It tells you how old it was. It was back where $5 would get you to play on a PC all day long. And they didn't make their money from you coming in and paying $5, because people would come in there at 8 o'clock in the morning and pay $5 till they kicked you out the door. And that's all you paid. They made their money by charging you $2 to $5 for a bag of M&Ms and $3 for a can of soda, because you couldn't bring outside food or drinking. But they had any game you could think of, and it was just a top floor of it was the floor of the building, the downtown multi-level building, what's now the Hears Tower, I think, down there. And it used to just be all open with computers. I think they had like 30 or 40 computers in there. And buddies would occasionally, after people started not being able to afford computers and stuff like that, we'd all say, well, let's go basically rent out Power Games. It'd be like 20 of us go into Power Games and be like, here's my $5. We're going to play all day. And we would just stay all day. And they had, I'm pretty sure what they were doing wasn't legal, but they were using daemon tools to launch ISO images that they had stored on a server. So I'm pretty sure they didn't have 20 copies of the game, but you would just install the games and you would play the game you want. Be like, what game you want to play, guys? And just get a tournament going. You know, I miss stuff like that. Springfield doesn't seem to be able to hold on to arcades or internet cafes. Internet cafes are kind of a thing of the past anyway, because computers are cheap enough. And I had a buddy, and I helped him run an arcade, or not an arcade, but a internet cafe for a while. And there's not that busy. There's not many people. Mostly kids come in and play it. And then, you know, outside of that, we had barcades, which were kind of similar, where you could go drink and play games like Xbox and consoles and stuff like that. And they just don't last. So, I mean, stuff like that together, gaming is kind of going to the wayside, which is, I think, why we probably gravitate and play a lot of board games, because it does that whole nostalgia thing and hanging out for us.
Yeah, you can't beat the one-on-one that you get with a LAN and, you know, just, you know, group time. You just don't get the same experience, especially meeting new people. You go to any of your local board game sales place. I mean, they've got tables, you know, strangers walking up, you know, hey, you want to play? At least you still get that. You don't get that with video games anymore. You just don't. And it's a sad thing because, I mean, I've met people at the beginning of online play, that I still play with sometimes today. And that's been, I won't say how many years. But you can't build those things up anymore from, LAN parties and internet, even an internet cafe. I mean, you don't get to meet strangers anymore. And now everybody online is such buttholes. You don't want to meet people anymore.
Well, you don't want to meet crazy. You don't want to meet creepy guys on the internet. Just ask Russ.
Hey, that's not nice. Russ is the creepy guy on the internet.
I mean, I do my best. I try my best most of the time. I mean, be as creepy as possible.
Well,
but
if you don't know, that's where Russ and I met playing video games online back in like 2000. So we didn't know each other before we started playing games together. So
no, we had a pretty worthless guild. So hopefully none of those old guild members are listening, but we couldn't get. Anyway, that's another story for another time. One of my favorite memories is like when you'd have the 8 to 10 people, because like not every LAN party you get that many. My average is usually 4 to 5. I mean, that's usually how many we had, 4 to 5. But when you had the big one where you had like 8 to 10, and then you're playing something like Counter-Strike and you're able to split up groups, and you've got one set of guys that are just pissed because they're getting railed, and you got another set that are just like laughing at just about everything. Because you can't hide it. Like when you're online, when you're at home and you're online, you set it back and you're like, you're just breaking everything. Then when you're in there, you're trying to keep cool because you're like, man, that same dude keeps killing me. Like, he's like, Pat, stop killing me or I will fuck you up. I swear to God. Oh, we're going to have to bleep that word out later. But like, but you have to stay cool when you're in the LAN party. You can't get mad. You're like sweat's coming down your forehead because you're just so mad because you've died like 20 times in a row. And there's somebody over there just laughing and like there's sweat coming off your brow and there's tears coming out of the other guy because he's laughing so hard under his breath because you're just having one of those bad days gaming.
Right. Yep. That's LAN parties for you, though. Everybody can see you and hear you, so you can't fly off the handle and mute yourself and start cussing up a storm.
And nobody can blame having a hack either most of the time either because nobody at least in my parties were smart enough to get the hack. So what
ended up happening though is that you would get those few people in a group, in a group of 5 to 10, how many you get to play with. You'd get those 1 or 2 people who are really good, and you'd have to make sure they were split up because then it wouldn't be fair because they'd be like, I'm not playing because they're both on the same team. So
yeah,
I mean, LAN parties are fun. Miss them.
Those are the days.
Yep. No more. I mean, we used to. A few of our businesses kind of have changed. I mean, Nick, I don't know if you ever went to like Metagames back when they used to have a little internet cafe, and they go in there and play games in there, and they kind of fully went. They used to be just like a gaming store, and now they're full on local board game store. Now, they do cards and stuff like that, but. They used to do the whole internet cafe where you can come in and pay and play on their computers. Did you ever do any of that stuff with those guys? Or did you ever play at Power Games? You remember them?
I don't remember Power Games. Metagames, when they had the computers, I did do that. They used to have Counter-Strike tournaments. And we had a team of 4 that would go in for that. We'd always make second place because, well, probably because we sucked. But I mean, out of however many people there were, I mean, we got up to second place, but they would. The thing with metagames is they would run the tournaments too long because they would have certain rules, and then they would run it too long, and they're like, "Oh, we got to cut time," so they would change the rules, and that's what would end up being where we would lose. So, but yeah, I used to do that all the time. It was fun.
Right now, they don't do that anymore. They're all board games. They do miniature competitions now, and they don't do a whole lot of they don't do any video games anymore. So. I miss it. It would be nice, but we're relegated to board gaming anymore because of that. I mean, it was all about hanging out, I will admit, because even though I spent the first hour or 2 of all of my sessions with my friends fixing their crap, I still remember it and still enjoyed it. And I still packed up my laundry basket with my computer parts and my monitor and took it into the house with my chair. I had fashioned me a backpack that I could put a strap through the arms of my computer chair, and I could fit my keyboard and mouse in the backpack and all my accessories. And then on my laundry basket, I had my monitor and my mid tower. I have full time. I had a mid tower. and just carry all of it in one go. I'd put my backpack on that had the chair strapped through it, and I would just carry that into my buddy's place because I didn't want to make 2 trips.
I just pictured you with that damn laundry basket strapped to your back with some bungee cords. You got your computer in there. You got your mouse, your keyboard strapped across your top of your head.
Shane, the struggle is real when you don't want to make 2 trips. Like, you will do everything. Like, you will fashion a noose just to pull a damn, I mean, a CRT 19-inch. Like, you were king. If you had a CRT 19-inch monitor for your computer, you were king. And so you were like, I'm going to bring this son of a bitch in there no matter what. Like, that is coming in here. I'm going to strap it to my back. I'm going to tie it to my leg, whatever I have to do to get that thing in there. You are absolutely doing that. So, yeah, Straps were furnished, tie downs, you name it. I mean, and I'm sure Patrick got every use he could out of that laundry basket. That laundry basket was missing parts in between it because it was broke because he had put the keyboard in there the wrong way or something like that. And he made sure that $1.25 laundry basket that he bought for that purpose lasted him through this whole LAN party career.
I did. It was a toothless laundry basket. It made it to the end. It never failed me once. I never dropped anything because it held up. And that cheap Walmart backpack that I had put this additional straps on to hold my chair, because my chair was on my back. It was in the backpack. I looped straps to the backpack, so the chair was on my back. So I'm telling you, man, one trip. But LAN parties were always fun, and I always regret not getting to attend like a Million Man LAN or something like that, where there's just hundreds, if not 1,000 people together gaming in like this giant warehouse. And like I said, I know they still do it today, but I don't know if I could do it anymore in my age. I don't know. It might be my last gaming session. It'll be just like this middle-aged white guy has a heart attack from staying up for 24 hours gaming, you know. That'll be my legacy. Died at a Million Man LAN because I was too old, fat.
No, I think probably the closest thing they have to a huge event like that now is still probably just the Unreal tournaments that they throw. I think
Million Man LAN is still going.
I can't remember the last time I'd seen anything on that, but you know, I don't follow it, Leo, because it's been so antiquated for so long now. Jeez, now we need.
I think they changed their name. I think they no longer Million Man LAN. I think they go by LAN War now or something like that. But like I said, I miss never getting to do one of those. But I always had 10 to 20 people when I was younger. Like I said, my friend Todd, we always called him Toad. That's the fun thing too about gaming like that is everybody went by their moniker. Like for the longest time, you know, let me tell you how hard it was to call Russ and not call him Monty or Montecore. It was so hard. It was always like Monty or Montecore now to get out of that habit and calling him Russ. Because I'm sure it's probably off-putting when you're in a group of friends and I would call him Monty and they'd be like, I thought his name was Russ, you know? People are like, right. What the hell? You know, so that doesn't really go anymore. It'd be kind of funny if we were all just like, that's all we did. Because that's what we did at LAN parties. We called everybody by their moniker, you know? I'd be like running around calling Nick Dark-esque and Shane Papa Cap all the time. And be like, what's wrong with you guys?
Right. And so question, like, what was the most bizarre setup? Because Patrick knows mine, but I'm just curious, like everybody else, like, what was your most bizarre LAN party? Like, everybody said, let's come over to so-and-so's to have a LAN party. But of course they have like, you know, a 14 by 14 room and everybody's wherever they can fit. So what's the most bizarre, like, seating arrangement / setup that you ever had?
One I probably never forget is a buddy of mine. I think he put all his money into his games, and his parents didn't care, so they got a small house so he could afford more games. But he had a kitchen that was maybe 12 by 7, and we would all be huddled up on the kitchen counters, huddled up on the kitchen table. We get 16 people up in there, you know, people hanging out the windows. It was freaking nuts. And what made it so bad is, and I think he did it on purpose, I swear to God, though, he had no air conditioning. So about game hour 4, it would get really ripe in there. And first person who farted, man, he was out. because there was no airflow with that many people in that tiny kitchen. But oh man, it was fun, but God, it was gross. We did like 3 or 4 over there, and we couldn't do it no more.
So mine's probably going to be, I lived in a duplex. So I think it was 600 square feet duplex, maybe it was 800, but it was a really small duplex. And I lived in there with my friend Tim at the time. And so we had a 16-person LAN party in the living room of this place. So I pushed all my furniture into the garage, my couch and chair into the garage, and I pushed my TV down the hallway. And I put in folding tables. I had 3 folding tables that were the big wooden ones that could fit 4 people at one. So you would, there was like, 12. There was like enough to fit like not everybody. So here's where it gets. So this is in the middle of winter when we did this, and so I pushed all my furniture out in the garage, and I set up the tables, and there wasn't quite enough tables. So what I did have was a folding card table, and me being a dumb kid thought it would hold 4 more people. Well, it would hold 4 people that didn't put 4 CRTs on top of it. So with 2 CRTs on top of it, and next thing I know, there's CRTs in people's laps. And so that little table ended up going and getting some wood from the neighbors. He had like a fence that was rotten, a little privacy fence. So he broke a couple of privacy fence pieces in half, and I just set them on top of this table. And so people are playing on top of like outdoor privacy fence laid across the frame of this old card table. So the LAN party in that one, and I will tell you, after about 2 hours and like 12 or 16 computers running in there, it was like a sauna in there. We're talking like single digit degrees, and I got the front door open, to let out all the heat and everything. So, and LAN parties were just kind of weird because at the same time, my girlfriend lived with me and she didn't play video games. So that was kind of awkward, weird situations, weird situations with non-gamer girlfriends.
Nick, what about you, man?
I don't have any. Mine were all pretty normal. I never had any crazy scenarios or anything like that.
Never packed in like sardines into a room that was too small for everybody.
No. Most of mine LAN party was, like I said, my buddy's dad owned a business. So downstairs they had like 10 computers, and they were all in their own offices with big executive chairs. So everybody could just take a computer and play. That was,
you know what? Nick doesn't understand the fun of it. My favorite
had to haul his computer around.
I did have to haul my computer around sometimes.
Where was your laundry basket?
Those were small gatherings. Those weren't the big gatherings. Those were just like me bringing my stuff over because we were just a small group of like 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 people. So
my favorite was always at Andy's. Andy lived in the attic of a German house. And so for those that don't understand, when I was in Germany at the time, Germans, especially around Air Force bases, they would convert their attic space into housing so that young airmen could go and rent it, and there's just enough time and everything like that. So what would happen is it just, so in Andrews, in the back part, he had a laundry room. So I would have an ironing board across the way, and by the way, the chair that I sat in was a lounger chair. So I would have the ironing board across. I had my keyboard and mouse, and then I'd have like a mouse pad on there because you couldn't just run it over the dang thing. So, and then I had the CRT on top of the dryer. So that's how I would play. And then his girlfriend lived with him at the time too. Heaven forbid, on Saturdays, whenever they needed to freaking do laundry, like I would have to pull back my ironing board so that she could get in and out of the dryer just to get the clothes out of the dryer. Cause I would be playing Star Wars Galaxies while the dryer was running in this like 8x4 room. I mean, if that, I think it was probably 6x6 to be honest, but that's what we used to do. Like that's when I was telling the story. Like I'd pack up on Friday night. I would stay over at Andrews from Friday night until Monday morning in that dryer room. The nice thing about Germany is a very temperate place. So, and it's like winter. I remember this one time we got snowed in so bad I couldn't even go home at any point in time. For some reason, ex-wife I can't imagine why I have an ex-wife when I stayed over there all weekend long on a weekend and I was supposed to hang out with her. But yeah, those were the days. Those were the days.
Right. Yep. Video gaming and girlfriends, especially if you got a really heavy gaming, I don't necessarily know if I'd call it addiction, but a healthy gaming habit, they don't really go together. And when I was young, it didn't go together either. So, but LAN parties were always fun. But, when I would LAN party, I would just tell the girlfriend at the time, I'm like, hey, just invite your girlfriends over. And that led into some really interesting situations where there was Jello full pools out front while everybody else is LAN partying. And I'm like, how does this happen? I'm pretty sure my neighbors all hated me, but
Hell, if I was your neighbor, I'd have loved you. I'd have been over every day.
They were drunk. Yep. Them and the girls always seemed to, back in the day, would like that Rumple Mints crap. I don't know what was up with that. Yeah. So
I couldn't even kiss a girl with that shit on her breath. Pardon my language.
But like I said, LAN parties were all just excuses to get around and hang out. Basically, they were the non-outdoor person's version of like hanging out around the bonfire. We gamed. We hung around the computer monitors and gamed and talked trash and ran our mouths and played games. And, and I don't ever remember any altercations or anything with my friends. Like Russ said, people would get annoyed if, they kept getting killed a lot. And a lot of times you could read the room. Sometimes it was just fun just to poke the bear a little bit longer. But for the most part, everybody would be like, okay, these people are getting irritated. And if you had like a big 20-person one going on, sometimes they would break off into smaller segments. You'd have 5 people over here playing Age of Empires or StarCraft, and then 12 people over here playing Allied Assault or Team Fortress or Unreal Tournament or Quake or something. So, and then you have the 6 or 8 people break off and play Isles Thermovic 2 or something. So it was a lot of that, and I met a lot of great people. Have a lot of great friends still from that time in my life. That a lot of them I've lost touch with, but I still remember them and have very fond memories of just hanging out and gaming and having fun. Probably destroyed a lot of my health in the process. I don't know how many massive amounts of energy drinks that I drank that have probably taken years off my life, but it was worth it.
Everyone gather around the CRT and get warm.
Right? Yeah. We're all getting bathed in that radiation.
That's right.
Look like the kid from was it Amazing Stories or Outer Limits, that all he did was stay in his room and watch TV and that bathe in that radiation glow of the television.
God, that was a deep dive there. Oh right. Man, I even forgot about that show, let alone the movies.
Right.
Yeah, the best part about a LAN party is not what you're playing, it's people you're playing with. And you just don't get that same feel with the online play. You don't. And it's sad. But luckily, we all get together and each other's homes, and we board game, and it's not quite the LAN party, but we still have good times.
Well, and it's you can invite your significant other because the women all get along. The women folk all get along.
Yep, that is true. They drink a lot together, though.
They do drink a lot, and there's usually a lot of yelling and quarters going missing, and I don't know what happened. So.
Yeah, my coffee table is still jacked when those women decided they were going to play quarters that last time. Oh, right. And not one of them made a shot.
Right. And then somehow that goes into bingo, and the whole jar of quarters that you have goes missing, So, but it's a get together now. As we've gotten older, none of us are really big outdoors people. And what I mean by that is we're not going to go out and build a bonfire and do that. Those are fun, but we're mostly indoor people, for the most part. So we play board games and eat a lot of food. We still eat a lot of food. Some of it bad, some of it not. And we don't drink. I never drank during alcoholic drinks during LAN parties or anything. And we don't do that with board gaming because I feel it would take away from, I don't know if we could tolerate 4 of us drunk trying to play a board game. I'm sure pieces would be missing and rules would be broken. And I don't know what would happen.
You guys would murder me so fast.
Be like, Shane, stop playing. You can't play 2 tops on that card. You have to play a top and a bottom.
No, we're playing Monopoly.
Right.
Oh, but yeah. Run.
Yeah, but so,
I want Boardwalk.
We're playing Gloomhaven. This is not... And then flip the table, Yeah, so I don't know. I could never imagine board gaming drunk. I don't think I could handle it anymore. Probably after about 4 hours and be like, guys, I'm not playing any more games. I was going to sit here and nurse my beer. So, but the women do drink. So, and they make up for all of us.
Yes, they do.
So,
Yeah.
My wife's the
board
winner
gaming,
there.
yeah, exactly like you said, board gaming is our new, LAN party. That's really what it's turned into. And it's just as fun, It's still the same experience, and it's just as fun just to get together with all of us. And it's not just about the gaming. It's about just all being together and just, having fun and laughing and being crazy and playing board games while we're at it. Just the same as it was with LAN parties. That was the whole point too. It wasn't just getting together to play a game. It was being together with friends and just shooting the breeze and just having fun and just playing games and chatting and being guys or being idiots or whatever.
Yep. No more of that stuff. That's what board games are for now. I can only imagine if we all make it to 60s, in our 60s playing board games, be like, Shane, stop spitting on the board when you're talking.
I can't help it.
Put your teeth back in. So I look forward to it. Like I said, I look forward to every board gaming session, and I wish we could do it more often, but I don't know if we would all still be in relationships if we board game more than once a month.
I have it figured out. If I piss her off, I can board game that weekend because I don't want to see you. Okay, I'm out. See you.
Then you will be single before long if there's too many of those, right?
Yeah, probably be cheaper.
Well, and then we can't have too many of them. We can't have too many trips over at your house because then Russ will be single. You can't introduce Russ too much. Russ's girlfriend in too much. She might run away.
Yeah, I think this round will run the risk. I think this round, this one can handle it. So,
yeah, she tolerated us that first night she met us, and we were being us. So if you could handle us being us, you got some promise.
Now she can handle a bunch of women drinking and playing bingo. We'll find out, right?
Tell her to bring her quarters.
Don't forget the big old bag of quarters. Well, cool. I mean, we can reminisce all we want about the past. I don't think anybody wants to sit around listening to a bunch of guys pine for the past too much. But anybody else got Anybody else got any final thoughts they want to throw out there on LAN partying and hanging out with your buddies and playing board games?
I'd like to go back 20 years or so and do it again one more time. Really would.
I think we'll all throw our backs out now trying to lift that 19-inch CRT in our computer.
Well, that's why we'll do it at my place. I will have to lift mine.
Yeah, we all get to fall down the stairs at Shane's house carrying ours.
It's a nostalgia thing, nowadays. It's just more of a nostalgia type thing. I wish it was still around, but like I said at the beginning, there's no need for it. With the internet and just online gaming, there's no need for LAN parties. You don't have a need to lug your computer or strap a chair to your back. There's no need for any of that stuff. So you can all do it from the comfort of your home. But, I think for all of us, that was kind of, we all grew up LAN partying and playing together, couch co-op and going to your buddies and playing a new game that came out and stuff like that. And I think we all just kind of missed that time period. And so I think that's what, that's one thing board games has brought back to us as far as board games goes, is brought back that kind of LAN party feel, that nostalgia of. Plus, board games are really fun to play too. So this is another form of gaming that we really enjoy. And so, I mean, not to talk about board games too much, but if you are a big gamer, might look into board gaming if you haven't yet. Just saying.
Right. Get together with some of your buddies and play some small board games at the table, see how that goes out, and you might expand further. But yeah, it's our replacement for LAN parties for sure. I would agree, because ain't none of us got an old, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have like an old 20-inch or 27-inch flat screen TV anywhere that I could just take over to Shane or Nick's house and bring my console with me. So I'm not even really doing that. I guess I could rip my 65-inch TV off the wall and like, Nick, make me room.
I got one. I got a 27-inch Sharp.
Oh, nice. But that's the tube on the back, right?
Yeah, it's tube TV.
Yeah.
You ain't carrying that thing around.
I carried it into the house. That was far enough.
We barely carried it from that damn lady's garage to the truck.
That thing was, I forgotten how heavy those things were. So I was like, yeah, I got it. Lifted up. Like, holy crap, I forgot how heavy these are.
She's
'Cause I
probably
have like
laughing at
a-
you the whole time, taking it away.
Well, it's
huh?
like, I got a 70-inch HD TV flat screen in my living room, and that's like you could lift it with one finger, like that's how light those things are. But 27-inch sharp is like it's like a brick, it's like a boulder, so heavy.
36-inch Magnavox. I remember having that son of a gun.
Magnavox itself added 10 extra pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
So
My
we
parents
ain't
had a
lifting that
Magnavox
stuff.
too, and a
Right,
Zenith.
yeah. Well, yeah. Go back to the old days with the floor model TVs. You want to move one of those around? You play LAN parties?
My parents had one of those too. It had the wooden frame around it
Yep.
and the TV in the center, and then it swiveled a little bit.
Yep.
I bet that thing I never moved it, but I bet that thing weighed 1,000 pounds. And
Yep.
it's a little exaggeration, but I bet it was heavy.
Yeah.
My grandma worked for Zenith TVs, and she got one of those first ones that came off the line when they opened the plant in Springfield. I moved it once for her. I said, Grandma, you're screwed. It's never going anywhere again. This is the one that had the built-in TV, record players, 8-track, all that crap. My God, it was heavy.
And of course, the
And
wood
now-
back then was real wood. It wasn't like plyboard or something like that.
Yep.
They put it together with.
Yep.
And now that we've gotten through Grandpa's story,
All right, Grandma, what's yours?
no, I'm just saying, like we're like, it's just hilarious. I'm dying laughing over here. I'm trying not to like just crack up because we're not mean to reminisce that much. And then Shane pulls out the reminisce of the reminisce, like Grandma, Zenith, box TV, 8-track. I mean, I'm just like mentally, I'm just 1, 2, 3, and we've hit it all.
Here's the one left for you, Russ. My grandma used to work at Montgomery Ward.
We used to call it Monkey Ward when I was a
I think
kid.
my parents had a Montgomery Ward credit card. I think I don't
think
know.
my parents
hell.
did too. I'm sure they did since my grandma worked there. But
Oh, God. Monkey boards. I haven't heard that in forever. I'm
right.
old.
Thanks
All right,
for
well-
joining us on Old People Talk About Video Games.
this on this episode of Antiques Roadshow.
There you go.
I'm
Free
the
plug.
antique.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, LAN parties, we love them. We miss them, but they're a thing of the past. And now we board game. Board games used to be a thing of the past. So maybe LAN parties will come back. Right.
Yep.
Well, I think that's all we have for this evening. I think all the energy drinks and Little Debbie snacks are running through us. The sugar high is wearing off and the caffeine's done. We're all about to pass out in the corner. So we appreciate you listening to this episode and listening to us reminisce about LAN parties and days past and hanging out with your buddies. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.